Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Cast Revive, your weekly top 5 VGM podcast. I'm your host, Matt Heimerl, and here with the man that loves to kick the chickens, Steve Moncelsi.
What's up, everyone?
And tonight we have a very special guest with us, a friend of Steve's, and now a friend of mine, I hope, is the man Derek. How you doing?
Very good, man.
So tonight's episode is in honor of Zelda's 30th anniversary.
30th, man.
Can you believe it?
Years.
It seems like yesterday that I was playing the original Zelda on the NES.
Oh, absolutely.
And now, you know, we're coming out with all these HD remakes and even the new Zelda that's in the works for the Wii U. I think it comes out this year, or is it next year that the new Zelda comes out?
That would be a question for you, Derek.
They promised this year.
This year?
They promised.
Promised.
It looks pretty.
That look in his eye says they better,
Because the new Zelda actually is supposed to be a female Zelda, right? Is that what I read, or is that just
A female Zelda.
Or I'm sorry.
I was gonna say Zelda was always female.
I'm sorry.
Wasn't
A female
Is there
Link.
a twist?
A female. What a
What
twist! Alternate timeline here. Female Link, right? Isn't that what it's supposed to be? It's supposed to be a female Link in the new one.
That's supposed to be the Hyrule Legends game. They're supposed to bring in that character for that. But
Nice.
for the new Zelda game, it's just going to be.
That's interesting.
Nice.
Well, I mean, they have to do something to really kind of, put a twist on Zelda without it being the same old, same old.
Right.
So that's a pretty cool thing they're going to do. I mean, they really pushed the limits on that with like Skyward Sword and stuff like that, and
Right.
You really didn't have an overworld to explore in the sense that you did like in the original Zelda 2,
Right.
so on and so forth.
Each game they added something really new, which is what I really like about specifically the DX version of Link's Awakening that we'll be focusing on tonight. Is they added some really cool features going on from everything they added from Link to the Past. You're like, where can you going from Zelda 1 to Zelda 2 was a huge change. And Link to the Past, you're like, oh my God, this is just getting amazing. And then even Link's Awakening, going from a console to a handheld, you're just like, okay, is this going to dumb it down? But they really didn't. They really added some really, really cool, fun features and made a game that was outside of Hyrule. I thought was actually really cool.
And not going to lie, Link to the Past is a very high bar to try to get
Yes.
over.
Yes.
That game is amazing.
I would hate to have to be like, all right, you're going to follow up Link to the Past. Are you kidding me? You're trying to get me fired?
That's like every Zelda game after Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. Well,
Every Zelda game after Ocarina of Time. By the way, Derek, I don't know if you heard in our last podcast, but Mr. Matt over here has not played Ocarina of Time.
no, I have not played any Zelda
Can
game
Can we
past.
turn off his microphone? Or-
Any Zelda game past Link to the Past, I have not actually played all the way through. I've played some of them, and
Sorry, I saw that bus coming and I had to...
oh no, absolutely. I
Push
will
him
be
out
one
there.
to admit. After Link to the Past, I want to play Wind Waker. Wind Waker looks amazing
Yes.
to me. I think it looks fantastic.
Yes.
I played about maybe the first 3-4 hours of Twilight Princess, which was fun, but I didn't have the time to get back into them, and I just never picked them back up.
The funny thing about Wind Waker was that when it first, premiered, and everyone was like, "Oh, what is this?" And everyone's like, "Oh, this is going to be kind of crap. What is this Link? What is this shell shading? I don't like this." Turns out it's like right there with Ocarina of Time as one of the best Zelda games ever released.
And it's got an amazing soundtrack to go with it.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't Link to the Past is my favorite in terms of soundtracks, but obviously, but Wind Waker's a close second. It really is a beautiful soundtrack. And which is where it leads us to, our podcast. We are a video game music podcast. So Derek put together a list of his 5 favorite Link's Awakening tracks that we're going to delve into and talk about, and possibly what changes they've made between. I definitely want to go into what the changes that they made between the DX and the original version, because going from black and white into color,
Oh, right.
that's a huge advancement just on its own for a handheld. So, but they added some cool extra features, which we'll touch on, and as long as talking about some of these sweet tracks.
So Derek, why when we started talking, you and I we discussed doing a Zelda episode. I asked you to pick your favorite Zelda game and the top 5 tracks from that game. Why did you choose Link's Awakening?
that is the basis of everything that you're playing today in Zelda, I think.
And why is that?
You got your first fishing challenge. You got all the unique little mini games they throw at you. They got where you're breaking up the heart pieces and stuff like that, so just collecting containers and such. And I mean, it's just they got the works in there, man.
Well, and they also started a whole bunch of things with that game. Expanding on what Derek said, it was also the first Zelda that had a trading system. In the beginning, you can find a Yoshi doll, and it serves no purpose until you find somebody who's looking for a Yoshi doll.
Right.
And you get that, and you trade that with somebody, and they give you the next thing, and so on and so forth. And thankfully, it's a handheld game, so it wasn't very long.
Right,
as far
right.
as your trading thing. I think there's like 16 maybe items tops. It ends with a mermaid scale, and it gives you a magnifying lens, and you use that lens. And it actually unlocks a level 2 sword for you that, like the old school Zelda, when you were full health, it would actually shoot the blades across the stage. So, I mean, that was a cool little perk.
And it was cool because it actually not just hit them, but it actually sent the enemy shooting to the other side of the screen. So it really helped clear things out.
Right. So you have that, and then on top of that, you have the seashell collections.
Yeah.
Where, there's like 26 in the game, but you only need 20 to get the secret thing that unlocks.
That's the sword.
That
is the sword?
That's the final
That is the sword. So what is the trading? I know the trade. Oh, the trading. I have to think on that. The trading does something. Is it the boomerang? Is it the boomerang?
No, you got me thinking hard on this one, man.
We'll circle back to that. I don't have we don't have notes in front of us, but we will circle back to that before this podcast is out.
Yeah, but you're right though. I mean, like they added so many cool little side features that just added to the exploration of this game. It wasn't a very linear game. Like you could really go in so many different directions. And I love that little you could go into the shop and play that mini game that had the claw come down.
Right.
You could pay money to get on the raft to go through the river rapids, and you can get extra coins. I mean, they had a lot of little different fun little side things you could do in this game. But one of the coolest things I thought that they added before we jump into the music, from the DX version, was the addition of the camera shop. I thought that was awesome. You could take pictures and
print them,
and you could print them with the game. Yeah,
you could print it with a Game Boy printer.
Yeah, I thought it was so cool. And one of the funniest ones was when you could actually steal an item, one of the items from the shop, and if you could get the shopkeeper's back turned and go out, and it would take a picture of you, like you had the most devious face, and I thought that was a riot.
By the way, just for the record, it is the boomerang.
Nice.
It is the boomerang. You can actually trade the for the magnifying glass will allow you to see the boomerang. And if you had the boomerang, that weak wuss weapon in the original Legend of Zelda, you can actually one-hit the boss of the game.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
In eye form.
Yes.
That's super cool. And this game did Link to the Past have the hook shot, or was this the introduction of the hook shot? Link's Awakening.
I think Link to the Past did have a hook shot.
I can't remember. I was thinking on that earlier, and I couldn't. I meant to look it up to see, but send us a message on the Facebook page. Let us know where the hookshot originated. I can't remember if it was Link to the Past or this.
But I do know that
I know it was like in that.
Link's Awakening was supposed to be originally a port of Link to the Past. So, but that was also
right.
Yeah, that was created by a bunch of the Nintendo employees after Hours.
Right.
Wow.
And they came in and just made a big deal about it, so they decided to make an original game out of the thing.
And you know what else is cool too about Link's Awakening, and then we'll get into music, is a lot of guest appearances are in Link's Awakening.
So many.
Wart and all like the Goombas from Mario and a bunch of Mario characters made their appearance.
The greatest is when you were showing a picture to one of the fish in the water, and it showed Princess Peach, and it's like, that's not Marina or whatever the girl's name was. It's like, it was a picture of Princess Peach. I was like, that is
Christine.
awesome.
Christine.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It was just little things like that.
Christine.
I couldn't believe. Yeah, exactly. I couldn't believe all the Mario references in this. I mean, fighting against Goombas, and it was just. And you had the chomp, the chain chomp in the front yard,
and the cheeps that fly up out of the water.
Yeah.
Oh, they even had Kirby.
They even had Kirby. That's right.
Anti-Kirby.
So it's great stuff. I mean, it's just great incorporation of all those into this Zelda game. So we're going to go ahead and dive into your number 5. So we'll talk about what it's all about in a sec.
Let's do it.
a very familiar sounding
Yes,
track,
it is.
and it's great when they incorporate it into other games as well. But Derek, what track is this?
Oh, that's the color dungeon.
The Color Dungeon. That's right.
The exclusive color dungeon.
That's right. Yay, you got it right.
Where's my prize?
And it's cool because
It's a Yoshi doll.
this was added to
Trade it?
for the DX version, and it was cool. And if you're playing it on the DX version on like a normal like original Game Boy, in black and white, it's not accessible. So it's only accessible on the color Game Boy, which I thought was awesome. And you got a tunic for completing the dungeon.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got
Tunics are key.
especially this one. You got a blue one or a red one.
Yeah.
You can only take one at a time, but you can always come back and swap it out.
Yeah.
So like the blue one, if you had the blue one, it doesn't double your health.
Yeah, boosts your offensive or defensive stats. I think defensive
Right.
was health and offensive was
An
more attack power. Yeah.
Right. So it brings the enemies down
Right,
by
right.
half, which was the red tunic.
Which is what I would always go for. I mean,
Yeah.
offense over
Because if you're just
defense.
crushing stuff, why do you need more health? You're crushing stuff.
That's right. That's why I got
Well,
fairies.
if you're having a hard time, I mean.
Eh.
I feel if I don't kill him fast enough, I'll have more of a hard time. It's like,
That's
I just
true.
want you to die,
Just-
man.
just
I don't want to
done.
run around.
Done.
Where are they all coming from?
Yeah, but this song's awesome. I mean, and it's a direct pull from the original Legend of
Yep.
Zelda Labyrinth.
Yeah. Which is an awesome
Man,
track.
just memories.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as you hear it, it's like, oh my God, I'm transported all the way back. And it's great. I love it when games do that, when they use a track from the original and they bring it into other ports of the game.
And especially as this was a bonus thing.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know, so
exactly.
that was just
exactly.
wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. Brilliant.
It's a nice way to reward players.
So was there anything? I personally never went through the actual color dungeon. So was there anything that was like stand out for this particular dungeon? Because since it was only a color port, was there anything like crazy about it that was added that you can remember?
Not really. The only thing special about it is the music. To me, to be honest with you, it's very
Right.
nostalgic in a sense. You start playing it, you start thinking about the old original Zelda game, and it just kind of brings back that feel of destroying the dungeon.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And I'm looking at some maps of it, and it looks pretty cool, very colorful.
Well, yeah, it better be.
What a jerk! But it says he can enter the dungeon as soon as he obtains the power bracelet. But he has to retrieve a book in the library. Which,
The first
which
one or the second
provides
power bracelet?
it provides instructions to a combination code, which is actually the dungeon's location. So that's how you actually have to find it. So that's pretty cool. Evil Orb is the boss.
Ooh. You know those
Oh,
orbs?
that's right. You had to. Yeah, you had to like hit it when it was a certain color to get that. I remember
Yeah,
this
it's
now.
really annoying.
Yeah, I remember that.
It kept changing colors throughout the thing. Like
Yeah, and
orange,
if you hit it
blue, red,
like the wrong
yellow.
color, it would shoot you to the side of the room, and then you had to start over or whatever. You could only hit it with. That's awesome. I forgot about that. Very nice.
That sounds very rage-inducing.
It does. Well, it's a Zelda game. So
Like rage quit-inducing.
This game sucks. Why would
You
you?
know
add
what?
this?
Done. Click.
You added this, and it pisses me off. Good stuff. Loved it.
I did not work this hard and long to get aggravated.
Now they have to reward you with some kind of aggravation because if it's easy, it's not a Zelda game,
No, that's true.
in my opinion.
That's true. At least they're not Skulltulas.
No, that's the most pointless thing in the world right there.
No, man, that thing gives you money. Man,
Well,
you get
50,
wallets.
50, you're done. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you get wallets.
Go ahead.
Walk
go
around banking.
Go collect the other 50 afterwards. Have fun.
Go hit up some fairies for some money. Like, hey, beep, beep, beep.
Hey there.
What's up, girls?
How you doing?
Where's my money?
Hop in my jar. Come on, let's go. Save you.
Wow, what just happened here?
It's a pretty nice jar, man.
I tell you, I like it. Spend a lot of rubies on that.
Speaking
Or
of
rupees.
things I'd pay rubies for,
Cookies?
Derek's number 4.
Oh, it's gonna be 300.
300 rubies.
Yeah, because that's a good track.
This better be a good song.
You better get farming, man.
Now, what do we got here?
That's the beautiful mountain.
Mount Tamaranch. Oh yeah, and that's the ending the end location, if I'm not mistaken, right? Where the majestic egg or whatever.
Yeah,
is
the egg and. Wasn't there an owl that came around and kept yelling at you?
Oh, God, yeah.
and tell you to do stuff?
Yeah, you see him, and you just like, how come you try to button mash to get away from the guy?
It's like, man, you're not the boss of me, owl.
He's trying to tell you what to do the whole time. Yeah,
one of the things I also really liked about this game, and like to get hints and stuff, you had to use that telephone.
Yeah.
So you just called up like, "Hey, I'm kind of stuck. So where do you want me to go now?" Well,
that owl flies down. Here, Link. Here's a sword, man. Piss off! I don't need your charity. Wait, dude, what? I'm trying to help you. No, get away! Button mash.
It's true though. It's true. Sometimes it just.
It's a little creepy though. I mean, he comes up behind you sometimes and stuff like that.
Well, when he comes up behind you and his head's upside down, he's like, "Hey!" You're like, "What?"
So what was the? I mean, this was near the end of the game. So what was this area? What was this area like? Like you picked this track. Is there a particular reason that you really enjoyed this area of the game, or you were just happy that this game was ending?
Definitely not happy that it was ending. I played this game probably like 3 or 4 more times after the first time they beat it, and just downloaded it again the other night when I was asked about coming on to the show here with you guys.
Very cool.
When you get towards the end of the game, you hear this song, and it's basically like an amped up version of their theme song.
Right.
You hear it, you're just, I don't know, it's a little adrenaline pumping. You know what I mean? And it's a good feeling that that you're about ready to beat the game, but at the same time, it's kind of sad. But
so, like, what is exactly, the people who may not know, like the final boss fight of this game? You're not fighting against Ganon. So, like, what is actually the final? Is it that windy fish or whatever?
The windfish?
The windfish?
No.
No, apparently, I believe his name was it Del? Dehl? He takes on the form of Ganon, but he is the antagonist of the whole nightmare scheme.
Oh, okay, okay, very cool, very cool. Was it? Would you say it was a relatively difficult boss fight, or compared to the previous installments of the Zelda game, or was it pretty straightforward?
The first time through, I didn't have the internet.
That's the way we liked it. Yes.
So the battle was real.
Right.
Now
things are getting real, man.
Last time after I played it through, I watched a few guys do speedruns on this, and I watched how these guys just absolutely destroy stuff. And it's like, oh my goodness, how did I not know about this stuff, including the amazing bomb arrow?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, and I heard actually, because the bomb arrow was discovered, I believe it was in this or Link to the Past, but then they actually made it an actual item in a later Zelda series, because it was like a glitch that they found. We're like, you know what, this item is awesome. Let's make it an actual item. In the game.
For those who don't know what we're talking about for the bomb arrow, in Link's Awakening, you have an A and B button, for your Game Boy, and you can set a weapon or an item to said keys. So usually you have your sword in one and you have an item in the other. Well, if you have your bow and arrow in one and a bomb in the other and you hit them both at the same time, you can actually launch your bomb across the stage on your arrow. And it will act like a missile and explode whenever it hits.
AKA Link's rocket launcher.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. It is Link's rocket launcher.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool. Like, being the first person to discover, like, wait a minute, is that intended?
Do this?
Can I shoot my boomerang and arrow at the same time? Can I shoot fairies at people? Like, what? How many different things can I try here?
Wait, I just shot this fairy at the boss. It's fully healed. I didn't think this all the way through.
A bloody mess.
Yes, it's a bloody mess on the guy.
Why would you do this to me?
This is never going to come out, man.
Just try a little bit of club soda on it.
You'll be all right.
Yeah,
quit your whining.
So I guess once you figured out how to do that, the game was pretty. Other than you having the farm bombs and keep that in your inventory, but I assume bosses were pretty easily taken down once you figured out that glitch.
Yeah, a little. But you try not to abuse it to ruin the game, but at the same time, you can't help it, man. It's fun.
Oh no,
man.
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
Well, I was reading that there's places where you could actually pay tributes to these bats that are underground on these altars, and you use your magic powder on it, and instead of they curse you, and your curse is you have to carry more stuff. So like you can get your bombs to a point where you can hold 60 bombs, 60 arrows, and I believe they increase your wallet as well. But Yeah, so it's like you can carry up to 60 missiles
Right.
at a time. Yeah, you pretty much don't need to reload.
That's insane.
Ever.
Like a portable little Apache helicopter.
Yeah, and well, let's not forget you could take out the last guy of the game with a boomerang.
Yeah.
A single shot boomerang.
That's
You've ever been hit by a boomerang?
No, but I've never been hit by a sword either. Or
downsize it.
you've never been hit by a sword. I find that hard to believe, Steve.
Boomerang way worse than sword, guys. I'm just saying. It's like a rusty spoon.
That could go on for 20 minutes. Yeah. So it looks like DETHL, Deathel is the he said takes the form of again other enemies from Link's past. So yeah, like we said before, like this game, I like the fact that it takes place out of Hyrule. It's a completely different area, and there's no real mention of previous timelines or anything like that. This is like a completely separate game.
I think they mentioned
own.
Zelda like once or something like that, if that.
Right.
Yeah, it's absolutely taken out of the world of Hyrule, and I think that was a great move for them, because then by doing that you don't have to stay consistent in any kind of timeline. You can kind of just do your own little thing. It's a side story. This was going on between A and B. It doesn't really matter. But here it is, and it's an amazing game.
Yeah, man, you don't have to collect the Triforce. You're getting the 8 instruments of the sirens, so like to awaken the Windfish. So it's really cool, because all you've known is the Triforce, Link, Zelda, stuff like that. But now you're just like, whoa, wait a minute, this is Link, but we're not in that area that we're so used to, and that lore. This is something different. So it got such critical acclaim. I mean, this game is. Its held is probably the best handheld from what I've seen. Although I don't know if the Link to the new handheld Link to the Link Between Worlds or whatever, that might be higher. But
it's definitely
this one.
I'm here to tell you, it's definitely awesome.
That's what I hear.
But
I hear the only great.
I can't mark it as my favorite. Still, there's nostalgic still.
Oh no, absolutely. That plays a huge effect for me, which is why most of the games, even though we cover from retro to modern, most of my selection is always retro, because nostalgia kicks in for me for all this stuff. Now, not to say that newer games are bad. I have a lot of them and I absolutely love them. But when I go back to thinking before I had bills and my only responsibility was kicking ass in this game, it's just it's just like yes.
And the thing is too, there's nothing wrong with the newer games at all. And we have this conversation all the time,
right?
And we've had a couple times on this podcast. But the thing is when you play a new game now, the first thing you do, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not. The first thing you do is, this reminds me of.
Right.
This reminds me of. When the original games came out, there was no this reminds me of, because they were the first.
Right.
And so everything just, even though the games themselves some were, but some of them were not amazing, but they were the first of their kind, and that's why they stick out. So that just like, wow, that is a great game. That game sucks. Really? Not at the time. Did you play it?
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing.
No, it absolutely is. I mean, and some of these games don't get enough credit when you look back and say, like kids today, they'll look back and say, that game just looks horrible. Do you understand the advancements that this game alone made for what you're playing today? Like, games wouldn't be the way they are, I believe, without some of these milestone games.
I mean, look at Super Mario Brothers, the original Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
I mean, games today, blow that out of the water. People play that game now. Oh, this is babyish. This is so simple. Okay, but not when it came out. It was the only thing like it ever.
And there never will be a game that's so hard that people can't beat it quickly, because the internet's around now.
Right.
As soon as a game comes out, there's going to be Let's Plays and online tutorials to get you through if you're stuck. Back then, we had Nintendo Power and the hotline.
And we had to wait.
Is it.
And we had to wait 3
you had
weeks
to hope
before.
that game was in the next episode or in the next magazine, and that particular section was in that magazine. Otherwise, and it's just that's just what was great. You could work with your friends, try to get through, and really have to use your brain. Now, not the
kids have no problem solving skills today.
No,
these kids. Yeah, that's it.
Back in my day, I had to work 5 miles in the snow to rent my game from Blockbuster. Now they order it through Amazon.
Back in my day, my controller was still plugged into the system.
Yeah.
I could only go 4 feet.
There's this wireless crap. Oh, I love it. I could have a whole podcast on that. But that'll eat up too much time. Let's move on to your number 3, because I think this one is it's pretty interesting. Ooh.
Spooky.
This is
Ghost House.
Ghost
Ghost
House.
House.
Ghost House.
Which was a very interesting little side thing. I thought when I first saw it and the ghost just started following you around, I was like, how the hell do I get rid of you? Like, are you gonna kill me? Like, you literally.
Do you know that owl?
Yeah. Why are you following me? What is going on here? You know, and it's just, and you had to do certain things to get him back to his house, and it's such, one of the cool things about this game, as we said before, was these little side things. I thought it enhanced the game so much, considering you didn't have the lore or anything from the other games to pull from. You're just incorporating all these additional side things. But you know that ghost and the way the tombs are from the original games and stuff like that. So while they weren't a direct, direct lore from the other games, I know that's a ghost from the original game, and I just thought it was brilliant.
Now,
Your thoughts, Derek?
I loved it.
Throw it to you, Derek.
Thank you. No, but that one brings back a lot of memories when you're doing those little side quests and stuff and such. But when I was going through I was listening to some of the soundtracks the other night, and I heard that one. I knew right away what that was, and that little quest, and it just clicked. Yeah. And of course, when I was playing the game the other night, I get to this one part where I'm with this little ghost, and I start hearing the music again. I was like, oh, this is actually. Here comes all the memories all gushing back in again and stuff. It's just one of those songs that brings back that nostalgia to me again. So.
And that's what's great about all this stuff is like it doesn't take much. You hear 2-3 notes from a track and you instantly know, I know what that is. I know what I was doing the first time I did it. And it just says the power that music has in games, just like you have smell, all this stuff takes you back. You hear a tiny fragment of a song, you're just like, oh my God, like whenever I hear Legend of Dragoon, it takes me right back to my grandmother's basement. I spent the summer there and I played the whole game nonstop until I beat it. Like that's my memory whenever I hear anything.
That made my heart smile. I just want you to know that.
It was just great. I got it and I was like, you know what? I'm here for the summer. That's the first time I had salt and vinegar potato chips. Let's do it all up right now, man. It is just so whenever I hear
everything in my life that will happen is now downhill from this point.
That's right. I should have just ended it after that.
Well, that was a bit extreme, but okay. You know what? Done. My whole life's complete.
That's it. Episode over. Thanks, guys.
But you were saying how music does that to you. It doesn't matter. If you notice the songs in our podcast, it doesn't matter if it's a full orchestra song or if it's just this little like chiptune that's like literally beeps and bloops.
Yeah.
And there's really nothing to it, but it has the same impact, and it doesn't matter how epic or non-epic it is.
Right.
It's, I feel that when somebody attaches to a song, any kind of song could be epic for that person.
That's right. Because you never know what was going on to somebody. There may be a certain game that helped them out during a difficult point in their life. And like this track it just makes me feel like better. And it's great that people can have the attachments to these older tracks, like you said, that are just like bleeps and bloops and not these full orchestral compositions that are mind blowing. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it.
Absolutely,
but simplicity, it also has
it's sometimes key.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. It's not overpowering, and it really fits to what you're doing. So, and that's what I like. That's what I like about more of the retro games, because the newer games, it's more ambient tracks in the background, and you're just like, it's just there, but I'm not like, I'm running through the streets. Okay, I don't really hear anything that's really like. But in these older games, every area had a specific sound. You were just like, oh my God, this is just great. Zelda Overworld, I will always remember this.
I think one of the most popular old retro songs like this was what was it, from Final Fantasy II for the Super NES, that had the Ballad of Maria or something like that. That was like the play that they did.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
You're talking about the opera scene?
Yeah, the opera scene. Oh, it's from 6.
Yeah.
I think it was like Rosa who did it or something. It was the white mage.
Was it Cecil? What's her name?
Cecil?
No. Yeah, not Cecil. What's the girl's name? Not Tara.
I thought it was Rosa.
I think she played a girl named Rosa for the opera, I think.
Rosa was in 5 or 4. Wasn't in 6.
Yes, that's right. Rosa was in 4. She was, wasn't it a little summer girl?
I just remember she was wearing green.
That's Rita.
Is that Rita?
Yeah, that was Rita.
Final Fantasy, you have too many characters.
Well, it's not important. I digress. What it was that song is one of those songs that, you hear it, and everybody who's played that game instantly knows That's exactly what it is. I mean, it was just epic at the time.
Yep. No, absolutely.
The game was epic at the time.
The game was epic. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's still, I mean, it still is for a lot of people. You know, it's great that so many people have so many different games. It's not like this is the only game in this series worth a damn. Like somebody has, like a lot of people that we know despise Zelda 2, but we think that is a completely top tier game. We absolutely love it.
Right.
And it's some people who hated Majora's Mask. They loved Twilight Princess. They hated Skyward Sword. They loved Wind. It's just like, you know,
everybody has their opinion. They may be wrong, but they have their opinions.
Exactly. You know, and it's just great because, you know, as we go on, you know, we're essentially trying to train the next generation of kids. God help us, but we love all of you. And they have to kind of like help take gaming to the next era. And
well, you know, when we set out with this podcast, you know, we bring this music to people and stuff like that. It's super important, you know, and just as important is the fact that, you know, if you haven't played these games that you're hearing this music from, go and experience it. Don't just take it. This isn't like reading Rainbow, you know, don't take my word for it, but it is, you know, it's nice. We're gonna scale that back a bit. But
are we taking a tangent here?
This is a tangent.
I need a soundboard so bad.
This is a tangent. But you know, we want people to go out there and play these older games. Like if you have not played Link's Awakening, you need to play that game. I mean, it's not very long, and you know, in the world of what we consider long now.
Right.
You know, it's you know, a couple hours. You know, you can get through that game, and it's amazing. Yeah. It really is. It's worth playing.
A lot longer if you 100% it.
I recommend taking your time with it and enjoying it for what it is and not speed running the
that
of it.
Right, and Derek, you just said to me earlier that you actually just downloaded a copy from the Retro Store?
Yeah,
from the Wii
Virtual Console, yes.
The Virtual Console, there you go.
Yeah, so I got many copies now.
How much was that?
$6.
So $6, you can go out and play this game.
Yeah.
And you'll write us up on Facebook and all of our other ways of getting a hold of us and thank us for having you guys play it.
And that's the cool thing about the newer Wii consoles is, you know, people are like, I don't have access to play these games. That you don't have that excuse anymore. You know, more and more of these games on PlayStation, Xbox, these retro games are starting to come up. You know, and the PlayStation Network has all the old Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy Tactics, and back early PS1 games.
And let's be honest, you know, Sony, Nintendo, they're not going to waste money putting crap games up there for you to buy just, you know, for $1. They all the games they choose.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they've chosen them. I mean, they're amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you can find a physical copy of these things, more power to you.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
I actually don't have the DX version. I've actually never even seen the DX version.
Interesting.
But I do have the original, just the black and white Link's Awakening.
Your birthday's coming up.
My birthday is coming up.
I probably won't get it for you, but maybe I'll look.
But just letting you know that our birthday's coming up.
Yeah.
I'll let you take a picture of mine. You can text it to him.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that I know Steve loves to get copies of games that are in really piss poor condition. So I would scrape off the picture on the front. I would burn half the manual, and I would urinate on the box and hand it to him like, here you go, dude. I got a great bargain on it.
Leave a corner of the cartridge on the stove.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice
thank you, sir.
It doesn't work, but you know, happy birthday.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
It needs a battery, too.
All right. And that's actually the worst part of the whole thing. Oh, crap, it needs a battery?
I'm screwed.
All right. Number 2.
Number 2 already. Goodness.
The song's playing. I'm over here like hacking at bushes that don't exist.
And I'm
try to bomb arrow at a bush. Take out like 30 bushes.
I'm throwing candles in the bushes, hoping they set on fire and disappear. It's beautiful. We all have our own way.
Set one on fire. You go a couple screens away. You come back, and the whole forest is burned down.
It's like, all right, no stairs on this one. Sweet. So this is the overall theme for Link's DX and Link's Awakening, and it's a great track because obviously it's a throwback to the original. So
It's definitely, you can't ignore that either. I mean,
No.
that follows you all the way.
No, it does. It does. And have they used this theme? Because I'm not familiar with the newer versions of the game. Have they used the overworld theme in any of the other games like Majora's Mask or Skyward Sword? Do you know?
I haven't played Skyward Sword. I played like up to Skyward Sword, and not that I can think of.
Okay.
Now I don't know that they didn't do like a Hyrule Warriors
Yes, they
type
did.
game. Did they include this in like some of like the retro characters you unlock?
Yeah, I think they did it on that. I haven't delved into Hyrule Warriors.
I'm wondering.
I'm not a big Dynasty Warriors fan, so
Yeah, I can understand that.
But Zelda could make you that way.
Did you play Oracle of Seasons or Ages?
yes.
Okay, because I figured if any game had this music in it, I figured it probably would have continued with the handheld. But I'm not familiar with those.
Well,
at all.
speaking of handhelds, what
They
about
used a lot of elements from Link's Awakening into those two games.
Oh, okay.
So they used that as basically their
Yeah.
building platform.
Very cool. Very
Oh,
cool.
by the way, Link's Awakening was also the first game that Link could jump in
Yes.
with the rock feather.
Yes, that's right. I saw some.
That's
crazy stuff.
ROC,
K.
Overhead jump.
no K. Overhead
It's
jump.
Zelda 2, you could jump, couldn't you?
That's true. You
That
could
is
jump
true.
in Zelda too. Yes.
But that was side scroll.
Yes, that is true.
Sorry, I just rocking out Zelda 2 here real quick. Don't judge me. Derek's looking at me from across the table with those judging eyes.
Actually has a bag of cookies in front of him.
Yes. Zelda 2.
Is key.
But yes, I mean the jumping in this game was pivotal, man. I mean there were so many things you had to get to, and I watched a lot of little cool moves where you would run real quick and then angle it and jump, and you could actually get over harder to reach platforms that you normally couldn't get to unless you go like another way around. So it's pretty key, pretty key.
And it glitched the game. And
I'm a huge fan of speedrunning, so I
don't blame me. I don't blame me.
Once I know how a game is run and I've seen everything there is, I was like, what else can I do with this game? Let's break it down as far as we can, and that's why I love speedrunning. You know, I would never speedrun a game my first time playing it. I want to enjoy it. I want to do everything there is, but once that's done, all right. What else?
next?
What else can I do with this game? And that's where speedrunning comes in. So
Now they have a whole bunch of handheld ones. I mean, you have Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages, and then you also have like the Minish Cap. You have
Minish
the
Cap.
Phantom Hourglass.
that's right.
And then when the Spirit Tracks.
Spirit Tracks.
Yeah.
But they also brought Link to the Past to the Game Boy Advance. They brought the original Zelda 2 to the Game Boy Advance. So they made everything portable.
Yeah,
As a classics, right?
In the retro area of things.
Right. It was like a classics.
Right, the Link to the Past was 4 swords, right?
Yeah, it
that's
had
what when
it
they
had
brought it
4
over.
swords with it.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
yeah.
right. That's right. You could link. Link. Yeah, right. Thank
see what you did there.
I'll be here all week. Yeah, so you could play 4 player. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
All right.
What do you got? What do you got going on over there? Pictures of me?
It's not pictures of you. It's actually Derek's number one Link's Awakening DX choice.
Oh, here we go.
Derek, you ready to lay it on us?
It's better be an amazing track. It's number one.
It's
There's no
number
pressure.
one.
It's number one. It's DMX remix. It's pretty nice. You guys are gonna love it.
The DMX. Beautiful.
I just picture the egg. That egg.
All
right.
I'm still crying over here. I'm sorry.
Derek, what is this title?
That's exactly what it is.
Is
It's
it?
the title screen.
Yeah, good job, Steve. You win. Yeah, this is the actual title screen, and once again, a throwback to the other Zelda games, and it's beautifully done. It's beautifully done.
Now, make a point out a fact here.
Well, that's 35% of your speaking is fact. So, but you can try.
Okay, well here we go.
Sound of
Fact
30.
laying on you. Knowledge is about to be handed down, Mount Steve.
Oh.
Yeah, here it comes.
In almost every Zelda game, it's always been a fixture that in the games that you can name your character, if you name it Zelda, they give you something special.
Right.
In the original Legend of Zelda, there's a second quest. and the maps are completely different. The dungeons are in different areas. If you type in Zelda, you can skip the first quest and go right to the second. This game's a little bit differently, though. If you actually use Zelda as your character's name, it changes the music that plays on the screen.
It's brilliant. It's really
actually
awesome.
pretty awesome music too.
Yeah.
It's the Caribbean remix, isn't it?
It is like a Caribbean remix, and that makes sense. You're on an island looking for seashells.
No, yeah. I mean, it's when I first saw that. I'm glad you brought that up because you're right. I mean, they have those little Easter egg type things in there, and for a game like this, I thought it was really, really fitting because you're right. You're on an island and stuff like that. So it change the main theme of it. I thought was brilliant. I'm actually going to try to look it up if you guys want to. Let me see. Link's Awakening DX.
That's a nice haircut you got there, Steve.
Well, thank you. You know what else I enjoy besides my haircut is having my voice back. Because last podcast was brutal, not having my voice. So now this is the original.
No, this is the alternate.
Oh, this is the alternate?
No.
That's not.
This is the alternate.
This is the alternate.
Yeah, man.
I was gonna say this is
Got,
like
like little steel
you're
drums
right.
in the background and everything going here, man. We got
This is pretty cool. I completely forgot about that.
yeah.
I feel like I could sit at Bahama Breeze and listen to this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
Or have
cool.
the worst Street Fighter character of all time, DJ, come up and do a little maraca.
Worst of all time.
Worst.
That's a stretch.
Horrible.
I want people to weigh in on that because
Horrible.
I think that's a little out of control.
No, how many people weighed in on the fact that Ocarina of Time was one of the best games of all time? It's
Nobody.
considered one of the best games of all time.
Nobody.
Derek, would you like to weigh in on that?
Why is everybody looking at me?
Well, because I directly asked you a question.
He told me.
I'm gonna say it was great, but to me, it wasn't the greatest of all time.
Well, no, to me, it
But-
wasn't the greatest of all time either.
Right.
But
And I don't see how the whole world see it in that sense of like.
all right, well, you're not ever coming back on the show ever again.
I'm
Steve's
sorry.
getting steamrolled by his own bud.
Yeah, this is loyalties at its finest.
I love it.
I still stand by my Link's Awakening. I love Link to the Past and Link Between Worlds, and there are 3 games that were tied for each other when I came onto the show, and it's just Link's Awakening just takes it, man.
So if you had to pick, obviously I think I know what you're going to pick, but if you had to pick one Zelda game that could be completely remade and like today's standards, like the Wii U, like the new Zelda coming out, would Link's Awakening be your choice, or would you choose a different version of the Zelda franchise?
Ooh,
That's a tough one.
that is a tough one. I tell you what, Skyward Sword, please remake that so I don't have to use the Wii remote.
And you go.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Wiimote. I like having the options just to use a gamepad, but it's always fun like walking in the room, seeing your buddy like. I was like, did I come? Did I come over?
Oh, I'm so glad people were not watching here to see that.
Did I come in at a bad time? Or you all right? You know.
Didn't Alex Baldwin do a skit with this Wii remote? So how do I get the coins out? You just shake it.
Don't worry. Soon enough, I'm getting a mounted camera to film our production here.
Yeah,
so
that
put up on
needs
YouTube.
to be done, but it doesn't need to be done. I would like them to do the original Zelda again. But come to think of it, I couldn't imagine what that would look like. Like, would you want to have like a first person perspective of the world of Zelda? And would people consider like Ocarina of Time kind of a remake of the original Zelda? I mean, like, how would you do that?
I think I would do it in the style like of Ocarina, but keep the original game the same. But like that behind the character look. But I think it would be cool seeing the original game from that perspective. But keep everything about the game the same, like the layout. So you're knowing like, okay, I know this area, but just have a different visual perspective of it. I think would be pretty sweet.
And those games are short enough; they could probably do something like that, and then release like multiple titles on a disc.
I'm sure it's
like
been
Zelda
pitched.
1, Zelda 2. There you go. There's 2 complete games. You could still sell it for $60, and it would fly. I think that needs to happen.
Well, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but they did remake the first one back in '95.
What? For what?
Was it Satellaview?
Wilson.
BSX Satellaview in Japan. And
Wow.
they redid it in 16-bit graphic format.
Really?
And it was a horrible system thing that they had going on there. For
All right. Well,
you couldn't own a physical copy. You had to have this thing called Satellaview. You hooked it up to your system, and at a certain time of the week, you could play this game for like an hour.
That's 'cause
and
it's
then
Japan.
Turn it off on you.
that's because it's Japan.
Come on, Japan.
This
man.
is coming from the country that people live at internet cafes just because it's cheaper to live there than go home.
Well, I would.
Maybe, actually,
I think people do the same thing here. It's called Starbucks.
Nice.
You see what I did
Nice.
there?
I remember back in the day, like hotels had stuff for like Nintendo 64. Like it would actually play on your TV. Like
Yeah.
you didn't have a system, but you could rent it
Yep.
through the TV, and you could sit there and play whatever you wanted to play.
Yeah.
And then Sega actually had its own channel that was working through the Dreamcast.
Interesting.
That you could actually play games that they gave, and they changed it like every week or every 2 weeks. And you just, as long as you subscribe to it, you could download the game. Well, you don't really download it. It's kind of just Wi-Fi.
Didn't Dreamcast only have like 15 games?
No, man. Dreamcast,
I know Fantasy Star Online and Crazy Taxi. Those were the only two games I know.
Was there
for
any- actually, one of the my all-time favorite video games of all time, here you go, is Skies of Arcadia. And that was actually made for the Dreamcast, and then they remade it and added a couple things and released it for the GameCube. And it
I
was
have that version
yes.
of the
Oh,
GameCube.
Skies of Arcadia, man, that's awesome.
Maybe we'll do an episode on the Skies of Arcadia.
That would be awesome.
Did they only have one? Did they have?
Yeah, there's only the one. There's only the one. As a matter of fact, though, one thing I like that Sega has done is that they bring their characters into other games. Like right now I'm playing through Sonic Racing Transformed, and one of the unlockable characters is Vice, who is the main character of Skies of Arcadia, and you race through his land, and if you haven't played the game, you are in a car. But then things can happen, and you could change it to a boat or a plane based on what happens to the course as you're driving it. So as you're driving through the course of the first lap, the Sky Pirates come in and start blowing up the track. So now you're flying, and you're dodging airships and cannon fire, and you're still trying to race the track. And it's so. And then you have the Mario Kart aspect of it. So you're picking up weapons, taking out other racers at the same time.
That's super cool.
Oh,
This sounds super frustrating, man.
and Wreck-It Ralph is in that game. So is Danica Patrick. I don't understand how that happened, but Wreck-It Ralph's in that game.
Nice.
And that's all I've got to say about that.
That's
This is a Zelda episode,
So,
not
but-
Sonic
Let's go
Transform.
back
Before
to
we-
this Danica Patrick.
Before we do our outro, Derek, is there anything else you want to share with us about your passion for Link's Awakening? Anything that people should know, or
Final thoughts.
anything? Yeah. Leave you with our final thoughts.
Oh, let's see. Enjoy every aspect of the game. Enjoy every soundtrack you hit. When you're done playing the game, go online and check out a lot of the cool other stuff you can do to the game. Whether it's just glitching it out just to see if you can do a speed run, things like that. There's people out there that do these world record runs that are they beat the game in like 1 minute and 20 seconds.
Stab a chicken.
Like so
Yeah.
stab a chicken, shoot the
That's
dog
Steve's favorite
outside
thing.
the mini game place with a fireball.
That's right. Yeah. No, that's great. I mean, I was glad that you picked this because the game I wasn't super familiar with, so I really got a chance to delve into it and watch some gameplay, and it seems like a lot. It seems like a lot of fun, and actually one that I would like to actually pick up, whether the original or the DX version, because I have both handhelds. But you said DX is very hard to find, so I might have better luck with the original. But I imagine it's probably kind of pricey.
I honestly don't know because I got it when it came out, so I haven't had to look for it. So I couldn't tell you what it's going
I'll
for.
just
now.
borrow yours,
There you go.
and I'm like, "Oops, I lost it. Sorry, bud."
I lost it in my
I
Game
saw
Boy.
it.
I don't know what happened. I'm actually surprised, Derek, that one of your choices was not the Ballad of the Windfish. Care to explain?
Oh, you come down to the end of the game like that, and then you play the little instruments are all playing one after the other. I don't know. I actually, to be honest with you, I turned it down a little bit.
You see that giant whale of a windfish thing floating over, and it was pretty cool. And there's actually a secret ending, too. I forgot how exactly to get it, but the chick you're helping will appear at the end. It's like a secret after the credits kind of thing.
Right.
You don't die.
Yes, that's it. If you do not die the entire game. And they kind of help you with that because right when you get hit your last hit, you actually still stay alive for like a second. So if you actually hit stop, pause, and back out, or hit save and back out, it doesn't count as a death. Yeah.
That's cool.
So, but if you can get through the game without dying, you get the special ending. I've never done it. I'm just telling you how to do it.
Now, both versions have 2 different endings.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know.
Plot thickens.
You got the original version. At the end, you get to see the girl that helps you out in the village. And then if you do the DX version, at the end, you'll see a seagull fly off in the distance. And they make a reference to her wanting to become a seagull and fly away from the island.
That's
and
right.
That's what you see at the end of that one.
Because it's all a dream, right? It's like when you wake the windfish, everybody gets their wishes or something like that, or their dreams come true. And for Link, it was to get off the island, and for other people that you meet, like hers, she wanted to be away from the island as well. And be a bird.
Doesn't he float away on a raft again? I mean, isn't that?
Well, isn't that how he got there? Like he was on a boat and there was a storm and he crashed up on the.
Yeah. He was going out looking for more adventure or whatever, and he got in a storm and it sidetracked him to this island. So he found adventure.
Yeah. So he had another raft. So he had to like run through level 3 of the original Legend of Zelda and get another raft.
I was going to say that.
You like that?
I was going to say that. Well done.
That goes from point A to B with no problem too, man.
Just do and you're there.
Yeah, exactly. Link just doesn't.
But if you got the
sense.
ladder, you only take step out like 4 feet out into the water. So.
or you can be Zelda 2, just get the winged boots that let you walk across water.
Yeah. Or just go Secret of Mana and call Flamey. Anybody?
Right,
so that wraps up our Zelda episode.
Where's Squaresoft come from?
Squaresoft's everywhere.
Everywhere. It is in you.
Not Square Enix.
But Derek, we want to thank you very much for joining us. This was a fun time.
My pleasure, man. I appreciate it, man.
No problem. And a couple announcements before we close out. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to be a guest on another podcast called For Geek's Sake.
I'm going to miss you guys.
Yeah, we're going to miss you too.
I can't get out of work. I mean, by the time I get there, you guys already been started and halfway done.
Yeah, so don't worry. I'll do a good job representing us. So
I appreciate it.
If you guys want to check out what they're all about, look up For Geek's Sake on Facebook, iTunes, Shout Engine. They do everything from comic books, movies, and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a fun time. They're bringing me on to talk about different video games, our project, and I think speedrunning is going to be a big thing. So
I think we need to talk about what games you're representing.
Oh, you don't have to worry about that. All I represent are the most key and amazing games of all time.
I'm going to trust you on this.
You should.
Kingdom Hearts should be on that list.
Well, I said one of the greatest games of all time, so that's why it's not on the list.
Oh my god, I know what it is.
Yes! Hyrule.
It's Ocarina of Time. Yay!
I know exactly what game this is.
Go ahead.
He's going to be using the Philips CDI, and he's going to play one of the classic Zelda games.
Wow.
Yes. Wand of Gamelon.
That's
Wow.
right. Yeah, baby. I'm glad
If
I'm
anybody
glad
wants to
somebody
check it
dropped it this episode. That game is terrible.
Please, somebody YouTube that if you're out there. Just YouTube the gameplay of it. And I don't think anybody does an actual full playthrough. They play like 10 minutes of it and they give up.
Do you remember the Zelda cartoon?
Yes.
Excuse me, princess. Every 2 minutes that came out, I want to punch Link in the face.
You weren't a big fan of that?
Twice.
That's going to be the intro song every single time. Excuse me,
Why do you hate me? Why do you hate me?
I live to torment you.
I'm surprised
I worked
the
so hard.
franchise lasted so long
Oh,
with the
jeez.
cartoon.
I worked so hard to get my voice back this week, and you hate me.
Oh,
See?
I always love you.
See?
I'm just trying to break your voice again. But the other announcement is every Saturday in March at Smash Comics at the Summerlin Town Center Mall, we're going to be running a table for charity for the American Cancer Society. First week will be a Mario Maker table. We have to get through a board as quickly as you can. And the other weeks are going to be a surprise. Probably going to be either a tournament of some kind or some other kind of quick race. So come see us 1 to 5 p.m. at Seminole Town Center Mall, Smash Comics. It's going to be a awesome time every Saturday in March. So that's 4 different events. So that's going to be a good time. And
Saturdays on March.
Yep.
Oh, so you're not coming to my birthday thing. Oh.
That's why I set it up that way.
Oh.
We'll have your birthday on Sunday.
Dave and Buster's in Orlando, just for those who are keeping score. March 5th. Just saying.
Well, it started at like 7:00, and I can come.
Hey, Matt,
I'm old, man.
I'll be there, Matt.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate
7:00,
it.
I'll be in bed.
But
old. We're gonna put my teeth in.
Anything anybody want to add before I play us out here?
Thank you for being on the show, Derek.
Thank you for having me, Steve.
No problem.
Matt, thank you for being on the show.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
No
That's
problem.
Next week we have a very awesome episode. That's actually a bit of a challenge. So I was very excited that appears on the Facebook page. Brian,
Sort of a challenge.
yeah, it was awesome, and it gave me a lot of really good ideas for future episodes. So stay tuned for that next week. And Steve and I will see you later.
See ya.